Hello everybody, it's your old pal Tuna here and welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we are going full Vlogmas. This is a chill, laid back weekly vlog, so please sit back, enjoy, starting with some festive spirit. This was earlier this month. If you watched my previous vlog, which was the Weirdos Art Market vlog, I alluded to this segment during that vlog, and yeah, just some good old family time. I don't have the ability to have a tree in my apartment due to two small furry demons that haunt my every move. So I got to go to my dad's and decorate the Christmas tree. We do this pretty much every year. And we do have another furry gremlin there, but he doesn't have nearly the destructive impulses that mine do. Up next, we headed over to the Festival of Lights. This is a beautiful light show that's put on in a garden here in Vancouver. The weather was fantastic, which doesn't always pan out like that.
Oh, that's a video.
And this is the other half of our Christmas tradition. So me and my dad and his girlfriend and Mark, we always do a tree decoration and we go to the gardens, and it wasn't rainy. It hasn't been cold here in Vancouver nearly at all. So that is kind of weird, but also nice. And it's just really wonderful to be able to spend some time doing things that are festive rather than just working constantly nonstop with the people that you love, you know what I mean? After that, we had plans to go to a little Christmas party for one of Mark's coworkers. So before we went, we hopped into the old gift shop here at the Van Dusen Gardens and grabbed a little host gift of a gingerbread cookie tree decoration, ate some delicious snacks, played some trivia, and we actually came in second place. So we won a little gift card that Mark used to buy a whole bunch of chocolate. Alrighty everybody, welcome back to the apartment. It's Monday, December 16th now, and last week sometime I received a box in the mail that I am rather excited about, and I wanted to share it with you here. The company that makes Copic markers, which I think is called 2 International, they sent me this as a little gift. I don't have to share it with you guys. I can just unbox it and play with it on my own, but I thought it would be a lot more fun if we did open it up together and check out the merchandise that I have been sent, and this is something special. I know Copic was excited in reaching out to influencers to take a look at this new product, and this is something that I actually saw while I was in Japan in the art supplies stores, and I opted not to pick it up because I just have a really large amount of art supplies and my suitcase was only so big. So the fact that they wanted to send me a little something to take a look at and give a try is pretty cool. Here is my box, sans identifiable information. I have not opened this up, I have just removed the stickers. And what they have sent me is the Copic Acrea marker set, which I believe is a series of paint markers that I'm going to liken to Posca for the time being. However, I may be mistaken in that way. And one thing that I'm excited to try is that I actually historically have issues with the Posca markers for a few reasons, and I'm curious to see how these paint pens will compare to my experience with Poscas. So here we go, my lovely little specialty box. Hey! Oh, cool. We've got a swatch table so we can take a look at all the colors together. Some documents. I even saw this particular flyer in Japan and was taking a look at the items themselves. Ah, yes. So I've got a set of 24 markers, a mason jar, and some coasters, because I believe that the idea with these as paint markers is that they're not limited to working on paper and they're good for like all surfaces. Wow. Well, ain't that something? Kind of gonna keep these little bags forever, not gonna lie. Well, that's my little PR box, so let's go ahead and take a look at these markers, shall we? Okay, so I did film myself swatching all of the pens, but I decided it was kind of boring compared to me actually using the pens, so we're just gonna jump right into the illustration here. I decided that I wanted to combine the Copic Acrea with some Copic alcohol markers to create sort of a double textured multimedia illustration. I didn't really want to take the risk of using the markers for a full sort of colored in illustration, if that makes sense, because the nibs themselves are ultra fine. They're more like a fine liner point, which I definitely think is really cool, but it doesn't make me want to like
use them for large fill, because I feel like I'd be scribbling a lot, if that makes sense. Now, I'm actually recording this voiceover on the day before that the video goes live, and I noticed that Casey Golden did a review of these markers that went live today as well. If you want an in-depth review of working with them like that, I highly recommend you pop over to her video and check that out as well. But as for my own opinions, they've sent me here a set, 4 different sets of colors. There's kind of like a pastel tones, a primaries tones, a jewel tones, and then kind of like a mixed one that has black and white and metallic colors in it. And when I first opened them up, I was pretty jazzed about the breadth of colors that were available, but once I started to actually use them in this illustration, I did notice that there was a lot of overlap in the types of colors that are actually available, and I pretty quickly realized that the white is probably the one that I would get the most mileage out of in general. And one of the things that Casey mentioned in her video that I'm also going to mention here is that while you expect to like pump them in order to get the ink flowing, I did find that I was having to pump them a lot, like getting a scrap piece of paper or using the other side of their sketchbook to constantly ask kindly the ink to flow through the nib, which was a little bit annoying, not gonna lie, but I did love the opacity of the pens themselves. Like they say, covers any color, any surface, and I definitely agree. You can do a lot of layering. And with the way that I was using them here, I wasn't noticing that they were tearing up the paper in any way. So if you did want to use them in this application as like a line art tool, I think that is a really great way to do so. But because it was kind of limited in what colors I was able to use, I did want to use like fun colors like pink and purple for the line art. But the most important thing when you're doing line art that's colorful like this is how you use values. But I found that the value of a lot of the pens was really similar, unless I was jumping from like pink to blue, which there's a lot of contrast between those two. But if I was using like the medium pink and the dark pink, I found that they kind of looked exactly the same. So I don't know, that is to say that if you were gonna buy a set, like don't feel like you have to go out and buy all 4. I would say grabbing the set with the white and the black would probably be handy, and then the pastels or the medium tone or jewels, like I don't know, take your pick. But I really enjoyed using them for this purpose. I was kind of trying to think of more ways that I could incorporate them, like thinking if they would be something I would really work with in my traditional workflow. And I wouldn't say that I would. I think that they could be fun for adding some details to some gouache paintings, and obviously they work well in this Copic marker style, but I don't really use this Copic marker style a super lot. I haven't really used my sketchbook very much at all lately, so this was kind of a nice excuse to do so. And if you're curious, what I would usually use in this Copic marker style is colored pencils to do the line art. You end up with a little bit more texture, which may or may not be welcome, but the amount of colors that I have makes it much easier to match the value and almost like blend them into each other too. I would say that I have kind of like a medium opinion of these. I don't think they're like great. I don't think they're like changing the game for acrylic markers in any way, but I like the fine nib. Oh, I also did notice that they would sputter a little bit like Poscas tend to do. So yeah, if you like Poscas, you'll probably like these. I don't know if these are cheaper or more expensive. I don't know if Posca does like the small nib too, but yeah, give them a try. If you're into paint pens, they might be the one you've been looking for.
Hello everybody. We are still sitting at my desk for this segment as well. See, this is the thing about the weekly vlogs, is I spend almost all of my time sitting right here, so I'm doing my best to keep things as varied as possible. Nori is also right in front of me asking for pets, but I wanted to talk to you because I just finished my work for the day. It's just about 5 o'clock on Thursday the 19th, and as a little treat, since I am done with the work that I have to do, it is time to play. So, if you follow me on any other social media platform, you may have heard me speak or type the word Karia recently. I want to open the door to my madness for you for a moment. So if you don't know what Karia is a musical act. He's a guy from Finland who was a finalist in Eurovision, I think it was 2023, and he was robbed of his victory at Eurovision, but as a result, he's like skyrocketed to success. That was how I found him. I've been following his work, listening to his music since then, but he just released a new album that includes the song Cha 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 that you might know from Eurovision. And my poor little mind just can't handle the level of awesome that this album is. And to say that I have become completely overwhelmed with obsession for the album and Karia the performer and the guy Yere behind the performer and now Finnish music in general would be a bit of an understatement. So first off, I made myself this knockoff Karia merchandise. I made a sweater. I did the illustration of him in one of the outfits that he was wearing on his recent tour in Europe. But I also decided to combine my current hobby with my current new obsession in the form of a tiny little cha-cha-cha doll. So I got the base for this doll, which is the skin color like that you can see here, from a dollar store in Japan called Seria. It was literally like probably less than $5 for both the head and the body, and I regret literally every day that I did not buy like a dozen of these to come back and customize. But I did decide that the one that I had here would become my little Karia doll, and because the cha-cha-cha outfit is the most iconic, I figured that one made the most sense. So far, the boots are from Rainbow High, and I just love that they give that like super oversized foot look, which I'm all about in my art. I have already made these tiny little leather pants and this little green cha-cha-cha bolero. I worked on it all evening yesterday. I had no pattern. It was a lot of trial and error, and she's not perfect, but we love the bolero anyway. And I've also sculpted from Epoxy Sculpt the back of the head that was just missing from this doll. I don't know, it was kind of chopped off on the back. Some big tuna style ears and a little bowl cut. And Mark saw me sculpting it and he's like, are you making a mini-me? So I think that the affinity for Karia at least partially comes from our shared love of a bowl cut. But all of that is to say that right now I am going to paint the head. I've been looking forward to painting it for so long. There's a couple more details that I want to finish on the doll as well, but I want to get it done today because if there's one thing about me, I like to start projects and finish them as quickly as possible before I lose interest.
If you do not already have your hands full with some sort of project by this point in the video, please grab the nearest craft to you and follow along with me. If there's one thing that I've learned this year, it's that having a hobby that is creative but not specifically related to drawing has been so helpful for just like establishing some boundaries from my work person to my like play person, because I have the hustle disease that you have probably heard of, that is just that everything that I do has to turn into like a side hustle. And one of the reasons that I haven't filmed a lot of like this sort of crafting over the last, I started in about May, so over the last half year or so, is because, you know, it's nice to have something that's just for you. And as much as I love sharing things whenever it's convenient, there has been something super therapeutic about crafting dolls. Obviously, I mainly customize Monster High dolls. That's how I got into it with the G3. And I have customized like over 10 fully outfitted, face-upped, hair sculpted, full character dolls. If you do want to see them, I do have photos over on Instagram and some of my Patreon updates as well. But this was the first one that I did with a different sort of scale, like a chibi scale versus like a hot babe scale. So I actually kind of love this, and like I mentioned, I totally regret that I didn't grab more of these little cheapy dolls, so I guess I'm just gonna have to fly back to Japan and buy some more. I don't know what has possessed me to become so obsessed with Karia. I'm not really somebody who's prone to being like a fangirl or entering into fandoms of any sort, but there's just something about this little green gremlin man that grabs me ever so. And as I kind of joked in the thumbnail, I feel like part of it is my brain like reaching out and grabbing for dear life this like dopamine injection that the music makes me feel, and it's like, this is who I am now because this makes me feel good. And I never acknowledged how kind a lot of the comments that you guys left me on the video that I made back in like October, when I sort of opened up about how I was struggling a little bit, and I just wanted to be honest about why like maybe there was going to be less video posting for a little while there, and possibly going forward, I don't know. And the comments that you left me were so kind and made me feel so much better about, you know, the content that I've made up until this point and like what may or may come in the future from this point. But yeah, I am doing better than I was back then, but it's like an ebb and a flow, and this time of year is always really tough. So if you are feeling still maybe like a little bit depressed, maybe you're really scared about 2025 because she's gonna be wild, I just want you to know that like I'm here with you. We are just taking one step forward each day at a time and trying to find the little things in our day that make waking up worthwhile. And I'm pretty lucky that my job most of the time is something that I'm really grateful to have and that does make waking up a little bit easier. But sometimes you just got to turn a Finnish pop star into a little chibi doll that you can carry around with you and, I don't know, probably take photos like a, you know, when they move, like, is it like a gnome that they fly around the world and take photos of it all over the place? No, you know what I'm thinking of? It's Flat Stanley. I don't know if he's relevant anymore or if that's more of a dated thing, but yeah. Anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this vlog. You enjoyed watching me make little Karya. You enjoyed the Copic Akria review and some of the festive stuff at the beginning. This is like a pretty laid back, chill vlog. So I will see you guys next week with another one. Before we go, going to really quickly say thank you to everybody over on Patreon for their support this month and all year in 2024. And if you did want to sign up to help support the channel, to help support me, there are $1 tiers, $10 tiers, $25 tiers, where you can get everything from digital downloads and extra videos to mail right to your door. But that is it from me. Stay sparkly, don't let the cruel world dull your shine, and I will see you next time. Bye!